I will ask that you check it out offline, maybe after this. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. Let me know if you can see this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, so we have a lot of good stuff to talk about today, and I want to start with this. It's a funny introduction. So, for Silicon Valley Education Foundation and for all of what you're learning in math, science, technology, and STEM, we're going to spend a lot of time today talking about STEM, what my experience was as a STEM student for science, technology, engineering, and math. What it's like as a STEM professional now in my full-time job. And then I want to talk about how I've had different jobs and I'm still an average gamer. So we're going to talk some about video games today. Are you familiar with Fortnite? Have you guys played Fortnite before?
Yes. Yeah, but I don't.
Yes. A lot.
I thought that might be true. So that's funny. I have some stuff to talk about that relates to Fortnite, technology, and the economy. So we're going to learn a lot today. Okay. So let me share a little bit more. I'm sorry, what was that? Was that a quick question?
Can you friend me?
Maybe we can talk about that later. One of the things that I think, let's talk about the presentation first.
Friend me too after.
We can talk about some of the games. I'm not playing as many myself right now, but we'll talk about them and how they relate to technology, careers, and the economy. So my goal today is we have time for an icebreaker, just a quick hello. Maybe you guys can guess. I have some truths and a lie mixed in. I'd like to see if you can guess which one's the lie. And then I'd like to talk more about my STEM journey and what my experience has been as a STEM student and now a STEM professional. And then let's talk more about some parts of video games. I know that a lot of folks that join today are gamers. My younger brother is probably a semi-professional gamer. I know a lot about video games, and it's a good way to talk about parts of the economy. So we're going to use that to talk about STEM, the economy, and how this fits with gaming. So we have time for questions throughout. I think that if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat, and then Alex can raise a quick note, and then we can discuss the questions as we go. So that's my goal for today. Does this sound good?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So let's break the ice real quick. I have a question for you, everyone on the call. So I have a couple things that I've listed. There's 4 truths. There's actually a couple bonus too. There's 4 truths and 1 lie. So I want to see what you think is the lie. Which one of these 5 is the lie? So put your guesses in the chat. I want to see what you think, and then we're going to talk about the story behind these. So take a quick minute to read the 4 truths and the lie. Think about which one you think is true, and then I want to hear from you. So these are the ones. Number 1 is, I once failed a college math test. Number 2 is, I went to college at Stanford. Number 3 is, I started coding, like coding and computer science, when I was in 6th grade. Number 4 is, I'm originally from Alabama. And last one is, my first video game was Super Mario. So I want to see what you think.
Do we have to put the numbers or just the question?
You can put just the numbers. That's okay with me.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at the chat here. Let's see. Let's wait a quick moment to put your guesses in the chat. This is a quick way to say hey. Okay, we have a lot of guesses coming in right now. So I like the guesses, and I actually see a couple right answers. So this is pretty funny. So I'm going to tell you the one that is the lie is number 3. So I did not start coding when I was in 6th grade. I actually didn't start coding until I was in college. So I got a late start versus some of my friends, but we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So that is to say that I've had a lot of ups and downs, and like most professionals, some success, some challenges, some of both. And that means that I did once fail a college math test. That was very difficult to bounce back from. I did go to college at Stanford. I'm actually originally from Alabama. That's my home state. And then my first game was Super Mario. I grew up playing Super Mario with my cousin, Jeremy. He's one of my good friends. So that's the quick way to break the ice and get started. Like I said, I have a lot of things to share. I hope we can talk through that today, and I'd love to hear your questions. So I have a lot of text on a couple slides here. A lot of them are introduction related topics or challenges or experiences I've had. So I'd like to talk about a couple things, and then I'll give space for questions on each slide. How does that sound? So my first role, my first job was very different than my current job. So I've done a lot of different classes over the years. Went to college at 2 different places. So I have a bachelor's and a master's degree. But the current job that I have is at SAP, which is a technology company. We make business software. So the software that my team helps make is for human resource professionals. It's HR software, and it's in human experience management. So it means a lot to me and to my teammates to build this software that matters to a lot of people. So I currently work at SAP, and my normal office is in Palo Alto. So it's not too far from many of you if you're in South Bay or wherever you may be. And right now, though, I'm in the home office, and I know many of you are too. So I think one of the things that was shared is what background could I give on my career? And what I would tell all of you students is that today, a lot of career paths take many turns. New opportunities come up. Sometimes there's a new challenge or a new problem to solve. Other times you find success doing something that's new. So that's been my career. I've started doing very different work than what I am now. So my first job was actually at a testing plant in my home state. I was moving pipes and doing a lot of difficult work in a past summer. And then my full-time jobs were different. I've been working in technology. I've been working in consulting, project management, and different topics. So have you heard of those topics before?
No.
Do you have friends or family that work in technology roles right now?
Yeah. My dad does.
Okay, great. So I've been at my current company and my current role for just over 2 years, and that's at SAP. So I did want to share this, and in most of my slides, I have like the kicker, and that's like what I would hope you could take away from it, or a quick lesson to share. And a quick lesson for me is that everyone is reinventing themselves. In today's economy, there are new jobs being created. There are a lot of new opportunities, and there are also new challenges. A lot of us are feeling challenged now with the current economy and the current work from home life, shelter in place. We know that. There are a lot of firsts in this list for my career. You can see the firsts here. There's 4 at least, and that's okay. There's a lot of new starts and a lot of new opportunities. So I wanted to share that. So I talked about this a little bit more before, but I want to talk about some of the challenges that I've had and some of the successes that I've had too. And really talk about how the challenges you have at some times, maybe at your age right now, some of the learning experiences, that can help you grow a lot. And those challenges can turn into opportunities and can turn into success. So that is something that I think is meaningful, I hope. So for me, I struggle with math in college, and I also struggle with computer science, and I was less experienced with both when I got to college. And I thought to myself, I know everyone here is learning a lot in math and science and technology today. And for some people, they may feel like easy subjects or hard subjects. Both is okay. It's okay to feel both. And STEM is a very exciting space to be in. Any work that is happening in science, technology, engineering, math, and more, computer science, in any of these fields is very exciting. But it also takes a lot of work, and it's not very easy. Even for the people that have been doing it for many years, it might be difficult or challenging or hard, and that's okay. I wanted to share this to start. Don't get worried if STEM and this work feels like it's hard right now. If it feels hard today, that's okay. If you feel like you need extra time to study, or if you feel like this is great, this is exactly what I want to do, that's okay too. All of those feelings are all right. And I know that for me, I definitely took extra time to study, extra time to learn, and that's helped me a lot personally. So I wanted to share that with everyone. So let me talk about some challenges that I had and what that looks like. So one of the things that I shared is that I didn't have a lot of success in math and computer science before. So I did do some math classes that were a stretch, that were a challenge for me, and some went okay and some were very hard. And my background is from a family that works in different roles, but we didn't do as much computer science at my house growing up. My parents' careers are not necessarily in technology fields. So I didn't know as much about coding. I didn't know as much about all of the STEM opportunities until later on. And I'm thankful for the opportunities I had to learn about those. So I didn't know about computer science. I didn't know about a lot of the engineering stuff I work with today until later on. Like I said, until college. So it's exciting for all of you to be working with your teachers and for you to be working with all of the people at SVEF, Alex, Cynthia, and the whole team to learn about STEM in the early days, learn about STEM in 3rd grade and 4th grade. It's super exciting because there's a lot of cool stuff. We're going to talk about some of the cool stuff in a bit. So I think I wanted to leave you with this. There are a lot of challenges and a lot of successes in everyone's life. And that means that learning is not always easy. And sometimes learning is very difficult. You have to take extra time. You have to study a little bit more. And other times you might have a lot of momentum or it might feel easier, and both are okay. Both are part of the journey. So think about that as you keep learning more about what STEM means and your interest in STEM. So a quick check, is there any questions or what more would you like to know?
I have one.
Sure.
If you could start coding at 6th grade, where would you think you would be now?
That's a great question. I think if I started coding in 6th grade, I would probably be I'd probably be an engineering manager right now, or I would be maybe a data scientist. So those are both exciting areas. I don't have all of the skills right now, but that's okay because I can still develop them. And that's a good reminder for everyone. You can learn a lot in school, after school, and all the time. And that's one thing that I shared. I didn't talk about it much in the last slide, but that's, let me jump back. For college and coursework, a lot of what I study is through lesson plan and learning online. So has everyone, are you familiar with learning online? Have you experienced that? Have you ever done, have you ever read articles or seen learning videos after school on your own?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. No.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It feels like the code changed for Zoom every day. Yes.
Okay. So it seems like a mix of yes and no, a little bit of both. It's important to know that there's a lot of ways to learn, and there are a lot of ways that you can learn in online videos, in the classroom, in normal lesson plans and other lesson plans. So that's exciting. I'm going to jump back to this page. Let me talk a little bit about my STEM journey. This talks about some things that have been ups and downs, both. And my goal is that you feel this, and that is STEM journey, your STEM experience, it isn't perfect for many people. It wasn't perfect for me, but it was worth it. And I think it's worth it because STEM is super cool. So one of my goals today is for you to leave learning about what makes STEM super cool. So to share a couple experiences with me, I'll talk about ups and downs. So I started out around your age, and before I got to later in high school, I really liked math because I felt like I was good at math. And sometimes it's easy to like things that you are good at or feel easy. So I did well in math for many years. But then in parts of high school, I really got challenged by science and math. And I think people experience this in different ways, but not every subject is easy. Some subjects might feel that way more or less, it depends. And when I was in chemistry in high school and then math and later in high school, I needed a lot of extra help from my teachers, and my teachers helped me a lot, which was tremendous. They made a big difference in my life with the extra help they gave. So your teachers are very remarkable in the investment and the care and the kindness they have for all of you. So think about that and the extra work they're doing to help you learn. I know the teachers that I've worked with, the teachers that have taught me, they invested a lot in me, and that really paid off. So I think what I'd like to share more is, like I said, I did struggle with math in college, especially when I was a freshman, so first year of college. And I knew that I needed to make changes in the way that I studied and learned. So I would share that to say, I know that this is a subject or topic area that's very large part of STEM. And you're probably learning a lot. I've learned some about what math and curriculum you're learning now, the math classes you're doing, the science work you're doing. just remember that it's good to keep learning and don't feel discouraged if it might be easy in some subjects, hard in others. That's a key. For me, some subjects were easier than others, and I needed to do extra work to bounce back in the classes that were some engineering and computer science, coding classes, things like that. So what I did was, after the struggles, I was able to bounce back and do a lot better in those classes. And then I started teaching myself more subjects and doing self-learning, which is an important part of most technology professionals now. So for your family members, your friends, for your teachers, a lot of us are doing a lot of learning after hours. We're learning at our job. We're learning, so we learned many subjects in our school and our schooling when we were in college, but we're also always learning. We're learning offline. We're learning on different websites, different platforms, through books, everything. And I think I'm thankful to say that I work in a technology role now, despite challenges before. So there is a lot of good opportunity for everyone to keep working and keep pushing for goals, if sometimes are good now or sometimes feel hard. It's all worth it, I believe, because STEM is super cool and there are a lot of great opportunities. Okay, so we're gonna ask a fun question here. I'm showing some of my first, we're gonna switch gears a little bit to the workshop and the conversation about a few things: STEM, video games, and also the economy. And we're gonna talk about Fortnite some, but I wanna ask you this question first. Who has heard of these first two game systems? Have you seen these before?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Kind of. No.
I see
Yes.
them I see them in GameStop.
I don't think so.
Never seen the first one and second one.
I've only seen the GameCube and the PS2.
Okay, that's what I figured. I didn't know if you would know the first two, and it seems like a lot of people know some of the other ones. So I started playing video games later than a lot of my friends, and my first game was Super Mario, and it was on the Super Nintendo. This is way before your time. It's funny to say that. It's like, wow, this was before your time, but this is a long time back. So we're going to talk a little bit more about games and how my humble beginnings for anything related to video gaming or technology causes me to appreciate a lot of the things today. So let me go to this next page. Quick question for Alex and the team: are we okay on time right now? Is this all right?
Yeah, we're good on time. We have until 12 if you need it.
Okay, that sounds great.
People keep drawing on the slide.
Thank you for saying that. I did see there were a couple images and drawings on the slides. If you don't mind, please don't draw on the slides during the presentation. And we can talk about some, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. Thanks for mentioning. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Ninja.
Tifu.
Do you know who
It's
these people are?
Ninja.
Booga.
Tifu.
Do you recognize these? Do you recognize these people?
Crash at 4.
Tifu.
Intra.
I don't know who is that. Booga quit Fortnite, you know.
Has $3 million.
Okay, so
Tifu.
I'm hearing a lot of good feedback. So you do recognize these gamers. These are professional gamers that are some of the Fortnite most popular players, right?
How about Jarvis?
Oh yeah, thanks. Jarvis is cracked.
Yeah, he's not on this list, but you're right.
He's goated on the stick.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit more about Fortnite and
Teach, you're mute.
Sorry, Davis. I might have accidentally muted you. I was trying to mute everyone else. Can you repeat like the last just few seconds?
Yeah, sure thing. Can you guys hear me okay now?
Now I can.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we heard everyone guessed these people pretty quickly, and that's because they're popular Fortnite players, and you probably recognize them from streaming or from gameplay.
I
I don't know them.
I don't know these people.
I do.
Well, be sure to stay on mute.
The middle one has $3 million.
Hey, classmates, do you mind staying muted for a quick second, and then we want to give some space for questions.
Okay, sorry.
I mentioned there's a little bit of a typo here. I'm sorry, but the future of gaming shifted a lot in the last decade, in the last 5 years, with ideas of battles royale. They go by different names, but this type gaming experience. And one of the things that's cool is that there are some great articles that I would like to share with you about this. And they may be interesting for you or your family if you're interested. And it's about combining the future of esports, research that was done, and how economic firms, how research firms, and even finance companies think about these things. So we're going to start talking more about how STEM and the economy and these aspects of impact gaming and how gaming fits that too. So battle royales have changed the game in many ways. Let me ask you this question. How does Fortnite make money? Do you know how Fortnite makes money as a business?
By making everyone playing it.
No.
People buy battle
They don't use
passes.
ads,
Wait,
so they just
people buy battle passes and V-Bucks
and V-Bucks.
with their money.
Oh
so
yeah.
that's
Oh
I
yeah.
started season 2.
And buy those cards.
That's probably one of the.
These are good guesses so far.
My first
Buying
skin was
the
the
battle
Sergeant
passes
Green
and
Clover.
So I heard some, and I couldn't fully make out others, but a lot of people said it, and that is, first thing is it's a free game. It's technically a free game, but it needs to make money as a business. So I joked here, how does Fortnite make money? Good question. Let's talk about it. So Fortnite made over $1 billion last year, $1.8 billion, according to one study. And then actually the year before it made about $2.5 billion. So of course it's making money. It's making a lot of money. But let's talk about why that is. How does a so-called free game make so much money?
Because
And,
can I say something?
Sure, you may.
I know someone that has 33 million V-Bucks. His name is Hypex, and he leaks a lot of skins and stuff like that. And he didn't hack. He's not a hacker.
Wow, that's a lot. That's the most I've heard actually. What I would say is talking about the game economy and the marketplace within the game. A lot of what happens for free games is that to first play with the basic version, it's free, but someone might want to buy a battle pass or pay a monthly fee to play a full version or what they feel is a better version. And millions of people choose to do this. So even though it's a free game, people are choosing to pay more for the battle pass, for a better experience, and for skins, features, embellishments, outfits, everything. So you will see a similar thing for some of the mobile apps you use. If you have an iPhone or an Android, many of those apps are actually ones that are free, but you can buy things in the app if you want, and that can lead to the developers, the company, or the organization that's created the app to make money. Obviously, there's also money to be made through advertising too, but a lot of this digital currency that you can get in the game. This is like in-game money. That helps you purchase many things. And I think that's what Ryan was talking about before. So there are a lot of interesting ways that you can think about how businesses work and how the economy works by thinking about how you play the game in Fortnite. So I have this video that if we have time, it's about 14 minutes to share. I would say if we have time and it's all right with the class, we watch a quick, at least a section of this video on the fundamentals of econ in Fortnite. So I would like to perhaps come back to this at the end of class, but I also want to share this for you to look at. You may watch this YouTube video on your own time as well. So it could be both in this experience and also on your own. So I will plan, hopefully, Alex, to show this at the end if we have time.
That would be perfect.
Okay. So let me ask this. We talked about Fortnite making money. Who saw Marshmello perform in Fortnite? Have you seen that concert?
Yes.
I have that skin. I have
I
that.
saw the Travis Scott one.
I have the Travis Scott skin too. Yeah, we saw it. We have everything on Travis Scott. We have like every single skin.
Okay.
Every
I know
single
we heard a lot of good feedback. A lot of people have seen both, especially the Travis Scott concert. Did you know this? Let me jump back. Sorry about that. Looks like I just jumped out. Clicked too many times. Did you know that over 12 million live viewers watched the Travis Scott concert?
Yeah,
12
I saw
million
that.
tuned in.
Yeah, we seen the live event.
I'm one of them.
We're inside the live event.
How many people were waiting till
I
Tuesday
checked the
night?
patch notes
No
every
idea.
week.
All right, let's all mute ourselves, please. Thank you.
Wow. So this is what I heard from the group. I heard, number one, yes, we saw it and we were one of the live viewers. Number two was not only were we viewer, we were in the concert. So I want to talk about that concept because not only were you seeing it, you felt like you were a part of it. And then number three is one classmate said they study the patch notes every week. So a funny thing about patch notes, I work at a technology company that releases software on a quarterly and monthly basis sometimes, and also on a semi-annual basis. We have different release cycles. We also publish our patch notes as a company. So we publish our patch notes not for users like you or gamers. We actually publish it for businesses that use our software. So it's very similar. Let's talk a little bit more about the first 2 points, and that is all of the parts of this in-game experience. So most of you are having the experience of playing a game with your character, and in the concert, you are a member of the audience and not just watching it, but actually your character is in the crowd and a part of the experience. So it feels like you're in the concert yourself. This is very important because it feels like a real experience. It feels like a very immersive experience. And I think that it was really well done. The design, the audio, the sequencing was very well done. So this creates a new genre. This is how businesses and different markets get disrupted. There are new ideas that come into the scene and they change the game. And this idea of a virtual concert with 12 million plus people coming in, that helps change the game. And it creates new business opportunities and new opportunities for engineers and STEM students like all of you. So that's exciting. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a quick thing. I'd like to ask any questions that you have right now. We have a lot of resources. And then if you don't have any questions, let's spend a little bit of time to watch this video on the economy, economic principles, and how that relates to Fortnite.
So for any student that has a question, just so we can try to keep this a little bit under control, please raise your hand with the little digital hand raise feature. I see like Ryan has his up right now. But if you raise your hand, I'll go ahead and pick on you, or Davis if he spots you, and then you can go ahead and unmute yourself then, okay? Looks like Fareed has a question.
Sure.
No, I have a comment. You know that like gingerbread skin that you saw when on the picture
Mhm.
for the video? That's also the laser beam skin.
Yes, that's a good point.
I agree.
What's funny about that is there are a lot of different customizable options, and for those, a lot of you know about this, but for many games in the past, they tried to have their version of skins. They tried to have their version of in-game outfits, updates, skins, improvements, and it worked for some games, but for many it didn't work. And it's worked for Fortnite in many ways. And that's actually a way that the game company, like Epic Games, can make a lot of money because people will pay real dollars, US dollars, for the best skins or upgraded skins. And that's a big part of the business proposition, or how the business works. So
Did
thank
they
you for that
code
note, Fareed.
Fortnite into a game?
Let's please make sure we raise our hand before we speak out loud, Jonah.
Sure thing. Jonah, what's your question?
Did they code the game and then made it into a real game when they coded?
That's a great question. So let's talk about that. Epic Games is a video game company that makes a lot of games, including Fortnite. There are also other game companies like Riot Games or EA. Has anyone heard of Electronic Arts or EA? They do code, and they use software to develop the game. That's exactly right. And I've had friends that have worked for game companies, or I've actually coded my own simple games. I've made a game before. Have you guys ever played the game on your phone? It's a classic mobile game called Brick Breaker or Breakout.
I tried it
Have you heard of this
one
game?
time. One of my
So
cousins.
I coded a version of that game in the past. So engineers make video games, and engineers code the software that powers the video game experience. That's right. Any more questions right now? If you do have one, don't mind raising your hand, and then we can talk.
I believe Aurora and Anna, they were raising their hand. Anna,
Okay.
do you have a question, Anna?
Yeah.
Okay.
What if Fortnite? Oh, hold on.
It's okay. A quick
Who
question.
made Fortnite?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Fortnite is made by a game
Can I-
company, a video game company called Epic Games. And there are a lot of popular video game companies, and a lot of them are based in the United States and elsewhere in the world. Several are based in California. You might have heard of Epic or Riot or even Blizzard. These are different game companies. So Epic Games created Fortnite.
Looks like we have a question from Ryan. No question there. Okay, Alicia, did you mention two other students?
I mentioned Aurora, but I don't know if they already answered her question. Aurora, you were raising your hand. Do you have any question, Aurora?
No.
Okay.
No.
If we don't have any more questions right now, yes. Okay. What I'll do now is I will change what I'm sharing, and I will change the screen to our video if we have proper time. Can everyone still hear me okay?
Yes.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. We're going to play this video. Everyone can still see this.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, quiet the set. Cue the lobby. Prepare to launch. This is take one.
I'm
The fundamentals of-
crashing. What's that?
By now, many of you, you're actually making a bunch of economic decisions. There is thousands and thousands of decisions that you're making every single game without even fully realizing it. And in this video,
It's
lagging.
lagging.
Before we get into gameplay, me playing Fortnite, and yes, all the clips in here are me playing it. You'll be able to judge my questionable skills in Fortnite in just a little bit.
Hey, class. Is it lagging a lot right now? Is it difficult to follow?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot.
Do you want to try maybe
Okay.
lowering the resolution one more time?
Turn off your camera and then play it.
Maybe we
I
have to
agree
turn
with
off
you.
the camera. That's what my sister said.
Let's all keep ourselves muted, please. Keep ourselves muted, please.
No, not my video.
Sure, I'll go ahead and lower the resolution. We'll give this a shot, and then I'll make an adjustment if we need to.
And
Thanks for
Davis,
the
if you can maybe
feedback.
try turning your video off while you're sharing as well, that might help. Like the video of your face, possibly.
Okay, sure thing.
Thanks. Let's try that out.
Okay, let's give it a shot. I'm gonna start playing the video again.
I've created guided notes to go along with this video to help you focus on the main economic concept. This video is going to be switching back and forth between me talking and then me talking over gameplay. So it can get a little bit busy and possibly even confusing. So the guided notes will help you focus and make sure you're remembering all the important economic concepts while also enjoying the video. So take out those guided notes and let's get into now what's going on with Fortnite and these economic concepts. Economics is the study of how society allocates scarce resources. Now, one of the things we have to understand is that people have unlimited wants and needs. In case you didn't realize it, you'll never be fully satisfied with the things you own in life. It's just human nature. We always need more things to survive, and we always will want more things as well. Now, this is where scarcity comes into play. We only have so many resources available to us. Now, we can actually see these first concepts already illustrated in Fortnite before you even get into a game. So let's take a second right now and actually look at the lobby or the main menu and understand what's already happening the minute we start the game. Once the player loads Fortnite, we can see they are presented with a bunch of different options. Now, we have scarcity here because we actually can only choose one. We have to choose one option for all of our decisions every single time we play. Now, each game we can do different choices, but I have to use my time wisely. I only have so much time. Time here is what's scarce. So I have to make a decision. I can see here I'm trying to figure out what game mode do I want to play. Do I want to do solos, duos, squads? Do I want to do the featured one of the week? Or do I want to go to creative mode? But these aren't the only choices that I can make from this main menu. Our choices don't just stop with what game we want to do. We can also go over to the locker, and here players will have to make a choice on which pickaxe they want to use from all the different pickaxes they've unlocked in the game or purchased through the item shop, what music they want playing while they're even just selecting their different item, what skin do they want to equip. And here there's also different rarities of skins, same thing with the pickaxes and the back bling and the glider, all different things that they can pick from. We also have gun skins and the loading screens. So we can see players here are confronted with a bunch of different options and choices. However, each game, there is a scarcity. They only can have one equipped at a time. We have a limited amount of spots available. So while
Since it's not lagging, I'm going to go ahead and move it to full screen. Thank you for the feedback.
most of the skins that people have and gliders and pickaxes and backbling will probably remain unused, that's because they have to make a choice. And here comes our first main economic concept, besides scarcity. As we can see right now, there is scarcity occurring in Fortnite. We haven't even gotten into the game yet, and I'm having to make a bunch of different choices. Now, as a player, we only have so much time that we can play each time we log on to our computer or PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, phone, whatever it may be. So I have to make sure that I'm doing choices that will make sure that I have fun and I enjoy the game and I get to possibly even get a win. Now, this is where scarcity is at play. Because the game only lets me pick only a certain amount of options each time I play. So I have to make choices every single time. If we go back to the locker, I can look at all the different skins. Here now, I actually have to make a decision. This is our next economic concept. We've just gone over what scarcity is, and that is the fundamental economic problem that every society deals with. But here, I have to make actually some choices, and this is known as trade-offs. Trade-offs are when we have scarcity occurring, and I have to choose between different options. So for here, I'm looking at the different skins. Which skin should I go with for this game? So I'll have to make a choice. If I decide to go with the Black Knight, well, that's great, but now I've made a choice and I have picked this over everything else. And this gets into our next economic concept, which is the opportunity cost. Now, the best way to actually explain opportunity cost is for you to see it in action. So we're back in the locker and I'm looking at the different skins that I can choose for this game. Remember, we have scarcity. I only have one spot. However, I have a variety of things I can pick from. So I only have my one option that I can actually go with for this game. So trade-offs are going to be occurring. Now, let's say that I'm debating between the Black Knight, Ragnarok, Raven, and Hollowhead. Now, all of these I like to play with. However, right now, I'm really feeling like either Ragnarok or the Black Knight. So I've narrowed my list down to 2. At the end of the day, I think I'm just going to go with, again, the Black Knight. Now, what's my opportunity cost here? Well, there's only one opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is always our next best alternative. If I wasn't going to go with option A, I would have gone with option B. In this case, option B would be the Ragnarok skin. The other skins, the Raven and the Hollowhead, are not my opportunity cost. Those are down further on the list. So again, I went with the Black Knight, but if I didn't go with the Black Knight, I would go with Ragnarok. So that one would be my opportunity cost. So we can see that we have a bunch of different economic concepts already at play before we even load the game. And we haven't even talked about the item shop or the fact that this is a free-to-play game where you can buy microtransactions within it. In fact, we're actually not going to address that in this video. However, if you are interested in this concept, consider subscribing. In the future, I'm going to be doing some videos that'll cover violence in video games in society, psychology, sociology, and how video games work, even how microtransactions actually kind of try to trick your brain to try and get you to spend more. So if you're interested in any of those topics, consider subscribing and then check back on the channel later. However, right now, we're going to focus back on these main economic concepts and actually jump into the game right now. All right, so I'm on the bus right now, and now I have to already make another economic decision. The question of where should I actually go? Again, I can only land in one location, and this actually gets into utility. If you ask any Fortnite player where they like to drop, well, their answer will vary. 1, probably depending on their play style. 2, on the mood that they're in. 3, if they're with a squad, duos, or by themselves, or if they're trying to really get the win or get a kill game, or if they're just trying to play for fun. So all these things factor into where you drop. Other things too is even the direction of the bus and what locations it's going to go over. And this gets into how we value things. Everyone has a different answer to this question because utility is not fixed. It's not something that we can easily measure like height or weight. Instead, utility of a good, a service, or in this case, a location will vary from person to person because of their experiences and also how much satisfaction they get out of all the different locations. If players were truly always concerned about winning, we should only factor in then a couple things into our decision of where to drop. 1, how much loot is going to be available for us to use, and also the likelihood of other players dropping it. If we wanted the best success rate, well, we want to land in a location that has a lot of loot, but won't have as many players. That way, most people kill each other off, and you'll be able to succeed and live the longest. Yet most Fortnite players don't do that every game, because there's other things at play. People are valuing different locations differently based on the experience that they want to get and the satisfaction they're looking for. And again, we can see this is different for every single person. So for this game, I've decided to actually go to the block, a relatively new area in the map that changes weekly. There's a lot of loot here this week, and I think this one's actually pretty fun to go to. So here we can see it. One, I just had to make a decision, and we had trade-offs at play due to scarcity of the locations I can drop at. But here you can see also we have scarcity with loot. Now here at this location, there's actually a lot of chests, which give out a lot of loot. So I actually have a pretty high chance of being able to get some good guns. However, in Fortnite, scarcity is used with ranking guns. All the guns are color-coded. Now, you might think that, well, this is an easy decision for players to make. Whichever gun is gold, which is the most scarce gun in the game, you should always take those. However, that's not what happens during a player's decision. You can see here, I'm picking up different loot, and I have to decide what I want based on my playstyle and which guns I like. Just because one gun is more scarce does not mean that I think it's better. There's different values that I will hold on the guns. And again, this goes into satisfaction and utility, and also the value that I'm putting on this weapon. And here we can actually get into another concept of scarcity, trade-offs, and this thing called paradox of values. And it's an important concept that happens a lot in real life, and it actually happens throughout Fortnite as you play. The paradox of value looks at why certain items that have no necessity in our lives have an extremely high monetary value, while other items that we really need to survive have a little to no value. We can actually see this happen, one in real life all the time, but also in Fortnite. Depending on what you're doing in the game and what your current situation is, we value items differently. And that value of the items will change consistently as your situations change throughout the game. Let's actually take a look in Salty Springs. So here we can see I'm now dive bombing with the airplane, kind of dunking on this player, taking him out. However, what happens now is this concept of the paradox of value. So I'll have to take out the zombie here, and now I can actually get into the loot. So there's a ton of loot that I can see around here. I have to make a bunch of decisions pretty fast because the zone is going to be closing in and the likelihood of someone else finding me is pretty high. So here I swap out my gun. I'm now going to get the nice legendary scar, but I have to decide what items to take. And this is a difficult decision. Ideally, I should take actually the med kit and also mini shields. Those are the things that'll actually keep me alive. If I want to win the game, I need to be alive. And the odds of me getting shot throughout this game are still pretty high, or me getting stuck in the storm. So the shield and the med kit are my best. I can see I just decided that now the rocket launcher is actually more valuable than the grappler. And again, we're still making all these decisions on the fly. So based on my situation here, I've decided actually that I don't really need the med kit or the mini shield. However, if the situation was changed and let's say I had 50 health and no shield, I probably would be picking those up, because how I'm valuing the items will change, it'll shift. And this comes back to our utility. Do I have a need for these items right now? No, so I'm not really thinking ahead or what might happen in the future, I'm thinking about right now. The paradox of value is a really interesting concept that happens all the time. In real life, it could look like this, where maybe let's say you're on a game show and you have to choose between diamonds and water. You're probably going to choose the diamonds. However, if we were stuck out in the desert and we're running out of water, you probably are now going to choose the water. Well, what changed? You're now valuing the items differently, even though the items haven't changed. The only thing that changed now is the usefulness for it, or what you need from them. Originally, you probably looked at the diamonds and water and thought of monetary value. Now, however, we're thinking survival. We can see that in Fortnite all the time when players are having to choose between certain weapons. It all changes based on their situations and what's occurring. They'll value things differently. Even though some weapons and items definitely give you an upper hand in surviving and winning. However, others are kind of fun to play and are maybe new or more rare, and you normally don't get to play with those. Another example of scarcity, trade-offs, and opportunity costs in Fortnite is when we're actually selecting an item. What item should we hold? Whenever we swap an item out and drop it and pick up a different one, well, we just made a trade-off and an opportunity cost because of scarcity, the amount of items and weapons we can actually hold in the game. So as we can see, there's tons of economic concepts just happening on the surface level of Fortnite. Now, the next time that someone tells you to put down the controller and stop playing Fortnite, you can just tell them that you're learning about economics. And while these decisions might not be that hard for us to make, it's actually pretty profound of how many decisions players make. It's impressive. And these decisions tell us a lot about not only just economics, but your own personality, your play style, how you're valuing certain items, and how those values change over the course of time as different situations change. Even your ability to be able to process information at a very fast rate to make quick decisions that are pretty important within the game world and definitely connect to your survival. So we can see all these things occurring every single time someone plays Fortnite. Hopefully this video was entertaining and helped you understand some of the basics of economics. I'm Mr. Sin. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and check out some of the other videos on the channel. Until next time, I'll see you online.
That was nice.
Hey, thank you all for letting me share that video. I know there's a lot to learn from that, but I wanted it to be an example of how you can learn about economic principles, how businesses work, how the economy works, and then things like scarcity, decision-making, trade-offs all impact part of what is really a video game experience. So I know we have a little bit of time left. Thank you very much for having me today. A couple things to remind you before I go. STEM is super cool. It's hard, but worth it. Don't worry if math and science feel hard today. That's okay. And if they feel easy, that's also great. That's fine. STEM to me is worth the extra effort because of many, many reasons. There are a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of challenges and a lot of fun to be had. Building software, solving hard problems, math and science. And hopefully I can join you again soon for future Elevate Math type sessions. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Davis.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Clark.